Take warning, you better take warning. Take warning, you better do good. Let your light shine bright, let your light shine right. Respect your fellow man as you should. Take warning, you better take warning. Take warning, you better do good. Let your light shine bright, let your light shine right. Respect your fellow man as you should. The evil that men do lives after them. The evil that men do lives after them. Your evil today will blight your tomorrow. So do good today and avoid your sorrow. Take warning, you better take warning. Take warning, you better do good. Let your light shine bright, let your light shine right. Respect your fellow man as you should. Take warning, you better take warning. Take warning, you better do good. Let your light shine bright, let your light shine right. Respect your fellow man as you should. The evil that men do lives after them. The evil that men do lives after them. Your evil today will blight your tomorrow. So do good today and avoid your sorrow.
Take the message, everybody.
Take warning, you better take warning. Take warning. Take warning, you better take warning. Take warning, you better do good. Let your light shine bright, let your light shine right. Respect your fellow man as you should. Take warning, you better take warning. Take warning, you better do good. Let your light shine bright, let your light shine right. Respect your fellow man as you should. The evil that men do lives after them. The evil that men do lives after them.
All right. Hey, guess what? Good morning. Good morning to all of you guys. It's the mid-morning show, and I know that you guys are surprised that I'm here. Well, we have a slight technical problem in the studio. And on top of that, our morning show host is a little under the weather. And so at the last minute, they made contact with me and kind of like asked whether I can sit in. And I wasn't too sure that I'm ready to sit in on a morning show. What do I put on? A tie? Do I what? Or a nice flower shirt? Well, here I am sitting in for them, Gabby and Selector Andre. Well, Selector Andre was ready to do his thing. And I said, hey, how are we going to play the music from the studio all the way here? A bit of complication, but they are good to go. So they have asked me to sit in, and I don't know. You guys can tell I'm a little nervous, right? I don't know what to talk about. Good morning to all of you. You know, you guys are straight up kind of people, and here we are on the mid morning show. I don't know how to behave myself this morning. How should I behave myself? I'm going to look at some of you and ask y'all. Everell, all the way in New Jersey, Plainfield, New Jersey. Good morning to you. I don't know, how should I behave myself on this beautiful Friday morning, where I just got to do everything by myself, right? There's no lemon. There's no, what's the other guy's name? Tangerine and so forth. Um, so tell me, what you guys want us to discuss on this morning show? Uh, Good evening to all of you. Just give us an idea where you're listening to us from. I know some of you are in New Jersey. We want to see how many of you guys are in Guyana listening to us right in beautiful Guyana. And do share the link and let them know that we're on. The mid morning show is on, and we are operating on 107.1 FM. And for those of you who may want to join us this morning, feel free. Tell me that you want to join, and I'll give you guys the link to come into the studio and talk with us a little. Look, this particular tune. Well, we see Brenda Casey. Good morning. Brenda celebrated her 30th, was it birth anniversary the other day. Happy and well belated birthday to you. Brenda wants us to talk about a situation with Ali in England. Now that's a something to talk about on Straight Up. It's a morning show. I want to put you guys in a better mood and to give you guys Nancy stories and to talk about things that would make you afraid, scare you early morning. We don't want to do you guys that in the morning, right? At 21 minutes after 9 o'clock. My name is Mark Benshop, and I'm sitting in for those guys in the morning show. Slight technical problem, and Gabby is not well. She's a little under the weather, so we want to wish her a speedy recovery. Um, Don Baines is in Bartica. Saw you guys had that regatta there the other day in Bartica, right? That Bartica regatta. It looked a little dangerous there with the what is it? The helicopter flying over and all these manner of things. I don't know. But Guyana is indeed a beautiful place, and at times we can describe it as somewhat strange, right? Strange in every sense. Let's see what's happening in the papers. I want to see with the Kaicher News. Kaicher News, the feasibility of gas to energy project remains a state secret. Kaicher News, that is. It remains a state secret, right? But like I said, it's the morning show. I don't want to bore you guys with anything. We could sit back, we could smile a little bit, but I kind of like that. I kind of like that story in the Kaicher News as talking about the feasibility of gas to energy project, right? The feasibility gas to energy project remains a state secret. A state secret. That's what it remains. A state secret. Interesting, right? Everything seems to be a secret these days. But before we get into all of that, I'm just giving you what's some of the headlines. Venezuelan woman found hacked to death in a shallow grave. Venezuelan woman found hacked to death in a shallow grave. Can you guys believe this? In a shallow grave, hacked to death in a shallow grave. And that's what is former finance minister Winston Jordan, former finance minister Winston Jordan, arrested. And guess what he arrested for? He wasn't arrested for 19 fraud charges or whatever the case may be, but he was arrested for sale of Ogle lands. So it seems as though, according to, we go with this headline here, but then again, it's the mid-morning show. So the producer for the mid-morning show, they have asked me, Josh, specifically, they've asked me to, be a little light on the political side because it's the morning show. And so I've got to be a bit circumspect, right? But let me just acknowledge all of you guys by saying good morning and welcome to the mid morning show. My name is not Gabby, as you can tell, right? That I'm not Gabby, and I'm not Earl, and I'm not Josh, and neither am I Selector Andre. So I'm sitting in for them this morning for 3 hours. You think we're going to make it do 3 hours, or we're just going to end after maybe an hour and a half or so, since it's an impromptu something, and I just wanted to not leave you guys hanging. And so management has asked that I sit in, and here it is that I'm sitting in with you guys. But let us get back to this story about Winston Jordan, the former finance minister. Guyana's former finance minister, Winston Jordan, was on Thursday arrested by ranks of the Special Organized Crime Unit, the Special Organized Crime Unit, for alleged illegal land deals made with private investors for prime state lands located at Ogle. Now, what from this article, what I'm getting, it's an article in the Kaitor News, right? So what I'm getting is that those who are in office right now, they believe that they're the only ones who have the power, who have the authority to give away state lands to friends and cronies and so forth. But under the previous administration, the previous legitimate administration, it is as though those folks had no power, no authority to do those things, right? And it is only for the PPP to do that. So the PPP, they're allowed to give out lands to their cronies, their friends, they sue and they poo, and everybody else. They're allowed to give out lands to hundreds and thousands of acres to their friends and their cronies. But the charges, allegations leveled against Mr. Winston Jordan is obviously frivolous and politically motivated. That's what it said. So let us see what else is happening. According to the Kaitor News again, they're talking the government, that is the PPP regime, to spend $100 million on health centers. We all know what's happening there, right? But every time I want to say something, I'm reminded that this is the morning show. It is not my show. My show is in the evening. And so I'm reminded that I've got to be circumspect because I don't want the producers of this morning show not to invite me again to sit in for them, right? So with the headlines that I've just read in the Kaitor News, the headline, feasibility of gas to energy project remains a state secret. Still a state secret. Then there's another headline that says here, workers urged to join fight for better oil deal. Workers, and you know Labor Day is coming up on May 1st. Then there's a Venezuelan woman found hacked to death in a shallow grave. Former Minister of Finance, that is, Winston Jordan, arrested. Government to spend $100 million, I repeat, $100 million to fix 16 health centers. 16 health centers. I want to get into that, right? But guess what? I want to get into that, but I want you guys to understand what is happening. So we'll take a quick musical break, since I'm also a selector this morning. Guys.
Take warning, you better take warning. Take warning, you better do good. Let your light shine bright, let your light shine right. Respect your fellow man as you should. Take warning, you better take warning. Take warning, you better do good. Let your light shine bright. Let your light shine bright. Respect your fellow man as you should. The evil that men do lives after them. The evil that men do lives after them. Your evil today will blight your tomorrow. So do good today and avoid your sorrow. Take warning. You better take warning. Take warning. You better do good. Let your light shine bright. Let your light shine bright. Respect your fellow man as you should. Take warning. You better take warning. Take warning. You better do good. Let your light shine bright. Let your light shine bright. Respect your fellow man as you should. The evil that men do lives after them. The evil that men do lives after them. Your evil today will blight your tomorrow. So do good today and avoid your sorrow.
Take the message, everybody.
Take warning. You better take warning. Take warning. You better do good. Let your light shine bright. Let your light shine bright. Respect your fellow man as you should. Take warning. Take warning. You better take warning. Take warning. You better take warning. Take warning. You better take warning.
All right, welcome back. So that's what has to happen. We've got to take warning. Outside. If we don't take warning, well, you know what's going to happen, right? You guys know what's going to happen. I don't know what else to say, but like I've said, this is not my show. This is the morning show. I'm trying a thing, and it looks as though I'm just going to be able to do probably about an hour with you guys, right? As you can tell, the light is too much on my face, right? Well, what's happening? I want to talk with you guys. What is happening? I'm going to get to more of the papers. I'm going to get to Stabrook News. I'm going to. Yep, Sharma Solomon, good morning to you. Sharma did a great job last evening. A great job last evening, and he's laughing me here now that they give me an impromptu 3 hours. I'm not, Mr. Solomon, I'm not going to be doing the 3 hours at all. I promise you guys this. That's for Gabby and DJ, Selector, Andre and Josh and Earl and those guys. That's for them, not for me. I'm getting to be an old guy now, right? So show me some mercy, guys. Come on. You know what? I think I may want to get in touch with Lemon so that Lemon could add a little spice on the show for us this morning. Let me try. Yeah, I am on with Lemon. I want to hear what's happening with Lemon. He might be surprised that he is on this morning. Lemon, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Good morning.
Good morning. Let me say that they put me on the morning shift now. Here I am on the morning shift. What you want to talk about in the morning?
Well, I just want to talk about everything that's going on around the country. Nothing positive about the government. Everything is negative about the government.
All right, but Lemon, when we were growing up, remember the quarantine, the parents usually say time and place. Do you think we should talk about that on this show, or we should just do it? Yeah.
In the evening show. We talk about it in the evening.
Good. Good. So what do you want to talk now?
Just keep the faith, and go out and vote the best party on the next election, and let the MPs start campaigning. Don't sit down in the office on Facebook and start campaigning now.
Okay, so
now, not later.
Yeah, so you want them to start campaigning now, not later.
Now.
Okay. But let me getting away from the politics, because I don't want the producers or anybody to get at me and send me a note this morning about the show. It's a mid-morning show, and I'm sitting in for Gabby and Selector Andre. It's their show, not mine. My show is political, but you seem to want to turn it into something political to get me into trouble. But let me ask you. Somebody's asking here. And you guys can ask some questions. I'll have Lemon sit in with me for a few minutes. Lemon, there's someone who's asking, what is your take about the birdie, meaning the monument? What is your take about that, sir?
I think it's garbage. That's my take on it. I think it's garbage.
Yeah. Why is it garbage? Talk to us a little bit. Why is it garbage?
It's waste of money. It's garbage.
Okay. It's a waste of money, waste of taxpayers' money. It's garbage.
Stealing money is garbage.
How much you think they paid for this monument? How much taxpayers you think was doled out for it?
Well, to be honest, let me say this. I think that thing costs no less than $1 million, but they're gonna want to say is $50 million. So they're stealing the money,
They're stealing the money. All right.
Yes.
Good. I hope that answers your question. Some people are saying good morning to you, Lemon. You seem to have a lot of fans. People are saying get well to Gabby.
Speedy recovery to Gabby,
and then we have Brenda Casey. Brenda Casey is saying here, Lemon is correct. The PBPC is already going to international campaigning for the next election. The PNCR needs to do more. You are on to something, Lemon. Go ahead, Lemon. Sorry.
They need to do more. Seeing Jadvio, we're seeing the so-called president in England. And nobody in England seems to come and protest for the placard. Come with the placard, protest.
I didn't really
show the world what's going on.
Like the UK, England get weak now. There's no proper representation in England there. Like I said, just no proper representation at all. Not sure, but it's very, very weak. So that's it. But good morning to the folks in the UK. David Watts, good morning to you as well. Shella and Hellman, good morning. But let me ask you this, Lemon. Getting away a little bit from the politics and lightening up people a bit. What was it like growing up for you, growing up as a little boy in Guyana?
Well, those days were wonderful days, beautiful days. We do a lot, play a lot. It was beautiful. Not like now, no job for the young people. I can't understand what the government are really doing. All they're looking for is big contracts, for the cronies.
Yeah, big contracts for their cronies, indeed. But continue. What are some of the sports? If you notice, I'm trying to move away from the heavy politicking because it's the more.
I don't want to try to. Well, sports, we play cricket, a lot of cricket.
You played cricket?
Football.
Yeah.
We pitch marbles.
Okay. Yeah.
The girls and the guy play hopscotch. I don't know them. Checkers, drafts.
Drafts?
You do a lot. Yes. Draft. We do a lot.
Okay.
And we do a lot.
Yeah, but the kids.
Sometimes go fishing.
You go fishing or you go fishing? Which one?
Fishing.
Have you ever hauled seine? Because these days we're hearing that people gotta go and haul seine now and catch shrimps so that we could export.
Shrimps, well, those are these days there's the so-called government saying.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know about that.
So you never
throwing cats there or with hooks,
Mm-hmm.
Those small days.
Those were the days. Those were was when, like in the 50s.
When you want to catch shrimps, you go to the sea,
Mm-hmm.
out to the river, out to the ocean, and catch shrimps.
Yep.
Those are the big fishermen who do that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We wanna take folks back into those days. I noticed some of our listeners are teasing. They're telling me that the politics, as much as I try, I'm trying my best to be soft on the political side just for this show, because the purpose of this show is not heavy politicking. And like I said, I don't want management to send me a letter. David Watts is saying lots of sports. Somebody here is saying, let me see here. Church Street Canal from Irving Street to National Library needs desilting. Lots of things indeed, St. Romains. Lots of things. When was the last time you went back to Guyana, Lemon?
The last time I went back to Guyana was a year and a half ago.
And what was it like?
Terrible. Everything raised. There's nothing there. You can't afford to buy anything. I mean, a poor man there can't afford to buy anything. It's terrible. But
when
I'll
you
be going back there soon I'll be going straight into Port Royal-Fontaine, the campaign, and tell the people what the government are really doing.
Oh man.
I'm going straight into those villages.
Lemon gone right back into politics. Lemon, this is what we're gonna do. Don't go anywhere, because we'll see what the other headlines in the newspapers have to say. We'll hear from the guys them at Village Voice. Village Voice is one of the newspapers that you guys have to pick up. You have to purchase. Spend your money on the Village Voice. So let's take them back to small days. Small days.
Small days is still on my mind. Small days is a good time. I never had some beautiful children. When they're singing and they're dancing, I just really admire them. Rick, chick, bangati, a peanut back, bangati, we see fall mama, bangati, 10 pot chicken, bangati, I beg she for one, bangati, and she won't give me one, bangati, you see that girl there, bangati, live Dorothy, bangati, she fat like a butter, bangati, and maga like a chow, bangati, small days is still on my mind. All days is a good time. When they singing and they dancing, I just really admire them.
Lemon, small days is definitely still in our minds. Good morning to all of you. It's Friday, the 29th day of April. It's getting closer to that, and well, the month is almost over. Good morning to all of you, wherever you're listening to us from. Bonita is saying lots of mafia contract signing. Lots of mafia contract signing. Gosh, lots of things giving away. But like I said, this is the mid-morning show. We are not into heavy politicking here. But what do you think on all of the contracts that's being given away to friends and cronies of people in the regime, Lemon?
What I think is, they're giving away, if you watch to a lot of Indians getting all the contracts, and which telling me what our Prime Minister doing, at least say something. Ejil, Kwame, what those guys are saying, about that. Only Indians getting all of the contracts. And is that right? It's showing racism in the country.
So with all of that, the contracts being awarded one-sided and so forth, the evidence is there. We see it every day. But outside of that,
we have our Prime Minister who is,
you have the Prime Minister, because there are a lot of people, maybe half of the country, who do not acknowledge the regime, mind you. So we've got to be cautious with that too. But outside of that, what is your take on this with the one-sidedness of the contracts being awarded to only one set of people, with an occasional crumbs being given to another set, occasional crumbs, mind you. But what is your take on this one Guyana thing? You think it's there?
No, one people, one nation, and one destiny. I don't know about one Guyana.
So you think that one Guyana stuff is a farce?
Yeah, one Indian.
No, well, one corruption, because remember also, Lemon, a lot of our Indian.
Yes. So I'm sorry about that.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Because a lot of our Indian brothers and sisters are punishing under this regime, right?
Yes.
So we've got to remember that as well, and it's just not fair. But I'm glad that you've reminded us that we are indeed one people, one nation, one destiny. And say it out loud and clear, Lemon. We are what?
One people, one nation, and one destiny.
We'll be right back.
Let's get together. Stop all this fussing and fighting. Let's love one another. You gotta help your mother, help your father, help your brothers, help your sisters, help your neighbors and your friends. We are one people, one nation, one destiny. Everybody, y'all. One people, one nation, one destiny. Yeah.
Lemon, that is something that we have to keep hitting home to remind our folks that there's no such thing. Forget about this fakeness about one Guyana. It's not a one Guyana. It is just what it is. One people, one nation, one destiny. Do you remember that song growing up as a little boy? One people, one nation?
Yes, sure.
Yeah. What else can you remember about Guyana, or maybe some good things happening? Maybe in Linden, I see they have the Tongue Day going on there, big sporting, big bacchanal. a big jam session going on in Linden there, boy?
Well, the tongue day thing, I'm not. I think it's a good thing, but it's for the people in Linden, Linden, surrounding in Linden. I think it's a good thing to have a tongue day, but don't get politics involved with this tongue base, with this tongue day thing. It's for the people in Linden or the communities.
I got you.
Everybody come out. Who have thing, the vendors come out and sell. I think it's a good thing.
Fair enough.
It shouldn't be this big. It shouldn't be this big politics thing.
1 second, 1 second, Lemon. I shared the stream, the link for anybody who wants to come into the studio and join us in a conversation. Anything that is bothering you, whether you remember long time stories, some small days, or something like that. Feel free to come in. You don't have to go on video if you don't. So before you enter the studio, if you're gonna come in, you could just go audio. You don't have to show your face if you don't want to. So come on in and talk what's on your mind. Well, let's get back to Lemon though. Concerning you think do you see genuine development under this regime?
No. I mean, I don't want to say it, but they have one puppet in the regime talking about development. This guy Rodriguez, what's his name?
We don't discuss them kind of people that on this thing. We don't make them a discussion at all. I know who you're talking about, Mahdi, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we don't discuss them here at all. And I'm sorry that I have to say it like that. We don't discuss small-minded issues here. We are bigger than that, right? But what about the information that we're getting concerning NIS? NIS is broke. Remember, our grandparents, our parents, and everybody worked hard in Guyana. 1 second, Lemon. 1 second. That they work hard. They contributed towards NIS, and now Jack Day is saying NIS is broke, flat broke. I want to explain to you guys why NIS is supposedly broke and who got it to the state that is in. But let's hear from Lemon first. Your take on NIS, sir.
Well, look who's in power. It must get broke.
Do you know how it got broke?
Look who's in power. Stealing the money. Stealing our money, our parents' money, our grandparents' money.
Let me just give a little background.
On the Avenue, it was never broke. All of a sudden, NIS is broke. Where's the money?
But let me give a little background on why NIS is broke. Broke, as in B-R-O-K, broke up. Because under Jack Jail, under the PBP, Jack Jail took billions of dollars from NIS, people's hard-earned money, their pension money. And once you retire, you can get your NIS or whatever it is. Jack Jail took all of their money, billions of dollars, and give it to his friends and cronies to invest in businesses, but more so, the big one that we're talking about is the bridge, the Berbice River Bridge, right? Billions of dollars, taxpayers' money, NIS money, people's money. He took it and gave it to private investors, his friends and cronies, to build the Berbice River Bridge. And then after that, guess what? The profits are given to his friends and cronies. It's been placed in their pockets. Nothing for the ordinary people. The coalition got into office, tried to fix the situation. It's not the coalition that made NIS broke, We're going to get into that, though. We got to break that down for our people. Things heating up a little here in the studio. I think we're going to get political. I'm not bothered if management send me a letter. We are going to get political. Let's go. We have David Watts. Mr. Watts, good morning. What's bothering you, sir? Mr. Watts, are you there with us? We're not getting Mr. Watts. Yes, good morning, sir. Yeah, we are now hearing you. What's bothering you this morning? Yes, good morning.
Yeah, we're doing good signal.
All right, we lost him there for a quick minute. But remember, guys, that I'm breaking this down for you. The Berbice River Bridge, the Berbice Bridge, that cost twice the amount of money if they had built the bridge somewhere closer to Stanley Tongside. And this is what happened. They realized that they're going to double down on the corruption, the billions of dollars that they took from NIS. Billions of dollars they took from NIS, right? With the corruption. So where the bridge is currently, heading all the way over to East Bank Berbice into Palmyra, it's longer. It's at the mouth of the Berbice River. Engineers have said to Jack Dew and them, you can't do it. It's going to cost a heck of a lot of money. But if you put it closer to Stanley Tongside, then the entire New Amsterdam area, the Stanley Tong area and so forth, businesses were going to start booming. So Jack Dew and those guys, his cronies, them, wanted to kill and stifle the people of New Amsterdam, Stanley Tong, and those areas. And we all know why, right? Good. But we'll get back into that. I noticed David Watts is trying to get on to us, but we're not getting him. We're not getting Mr. Watts, David Watts, that is. Hopefully he can try again so that he can make his contribution on the show this morning. Maxine Monroe. Let's see what Maxine Monroe is saying. NIS money went to Berbice River Bridge. What a liar. You are a moonshine VP. We all know that he's a liar. It went directly there. And there is no evidence to prove, none whatsoever, that NIS became bankrupt because of the coalition. It is the coalition that saved a lot of agencies in Guyana. And we've got to give the coalition kudos for that. But Lemon, let's see if we get David Watts. David, good morning.
Good morning, Mark.
Yeah, good morning, David. But if you can speak up, please. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. I said God rest the dead, man. Hello?
Yeah, we're hearing you.
Yes, I God rest the dead. For Barnum, I'm talking about. Even for Barnum, they build those multilateral schools for the kids and for us. And even Jack Dew, you know? Things wouldn't be how we enjoy those old days. I know what the plans for the government are for these young people now, man. All this is about as you said, the cronies and their people. Look what they did to Stanley Tong and Amsterdam there, man. You know? What do they try to do to transport and harbors? No boats, no nothing anymore. Everything they're breaking up and burning up. You know?
Every single thing they're doing. I so agree with you, Mr. Watts.
Even
It's
NIS, you know?
It's everything for them is corruption. Every single thing.
Break up.
Break up, broke up. You know what I mean? Anything else? Yeah. Anything else on your mind this morning, Mr. Watts?
I just want to say thank you for your program, and I continue to listen to this program. It make my day, you know. I'm a great fan of this program. I wish other people could just tune in and just say, you know, speak their mind, you know.
I know you listen to them every morning, but I didn't want to scare you guys this morning for you guys to see my face and not Gabby. I know you tune in every morning. Yeah. But thank you so much for your time though, Mr. Watts.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah. All right. So Lemon, you heard that there massive corruption, NIS. I don't know what's happening, man, but let's take another quick musical break and we'll be right back with more of the mid-morning show. This is Gabby's show along with Selector Andre, but they're off this morning. Gabby's a little under the weather. But we'll take a quick break and be right back.
Help your brothers, help your sisters, help your neighbors, and your friends. We are one people, one nation, one destiny. Everybody, y'all. One people, one nation, one destiny. Yeah, yeah. Separated. Now we are free. That's the way it should be. You gotta help your mother, help your father, help your sister, help your brothers, help your neighbors, and your friends. We are one people, one nation, one destiny. Yeah, yeah. One people, one nation, one destiny. Yeah, 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 yeah. We are one people, one nation, one destiny. Yeah, yeah. One people, one nation, one destiny. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Dude like this, reggae's another day, y'all. Move, y'all. In the olden days, we were separated. Now we are free. That's the way it should be. You gotta help your mother, help your father, help your sister, help your brothers, help your neighbors, and your friends. We are one people, one nation, one destiny. Sing my song, yeah. One people, one nation, one destiny. Whoa, whoa, whoa. One people we are, we're one destiny. Separated. Now we are free. That's the way it should be. You gotta help your mother, help your father, help your sister, help your brothers, help your neighbors, and your friends. We are one people, one nation, one destiny. Yeah, yeah. One people, one nation, one destiny. Yeah, 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 yeah. We are one people, one nation, one destiny. Yeah, yeah. One people, one nation, one destiny. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Woo. Do it like this, reggae's another day, y'all. Move, y'all.
All right. Welcome back to the mid-morning show. I have with us this morning for a couple of minutes, former finance minister, Mr. Winston Jordan, who seemed to be the target of this regime for nonsensical matters and all political. Mr. Jordan, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Mark. Not too well, but happy to be on your line.
Let me ask you this: how are you taking this constant harassment and detention coming from these guys in the regime? How are you taking it? You must be a strong man.
Which, for in a sense, exacerbated by Soko. And what I've been doing is religiously following my doctor's orders to continuously rest, do some light reading, watch a little television for effort and so on. But I was making a lot considerable progress. I was hoping even to be back among the contributors to topical issues. But yesterday's sudden arrest and detention of me for a couple hours at Soko has again triggered a mini crisis, and I'm dealing with it.
A mini crisis indeed, Mr. Winston Jordan. I just want to quickly ask you this, sir, and I want to. We all are praying for you. We know things will work out. We know it's politically motivated. But let me ask you this, sir. Not so long ago, less than 48 hours, Bharat Jagdev said that NIS is either bankrupt or dead broke. It's done with already. And he is blaming the coalition for that. Break it down for us, please, sir.
Well, first of all, I don't know what you mean by dead broke. He has not shown any indicators to say that what he means by dead broke. So those are just political statements. I know NIS is a going concern. One. Two, NIS falls under the Corporate Finance Administration Act. Now, I don't know how many people remember that act, but there were a number of institutions in the past, financial institutions in the past that we had, among them GNCB, Ghana National Cooperative Bank, then we had Ghana National Cooperative Bank Trust Company, NIS, then we had GCIS, which was the insurance, and then we had Ghana Cooperative Mortgage Finance Bank. So those five came under the umbrella of COFA. The only surviving one, as you know, is NIS. But under the COFA Act, whatever deficit might have accrued or accumulated by any one of these agencies had to be attended to by the government and ultimately come from the consolidated fund. So the number of NIS would be broke in the sense that it's eaten into its capital to meet current expenditure, but not dead broke because it's still getting significant income. It's just that its expenditure, its current expenditure in particular, is more than the income that it's earning. So the government has to make good the deficit of NIS. So that's on the one side. Now, contributing to the position of NIS, as you well know, is some unfortunate, that is a mild word, investments that were made by NIS in the past, and particularly under the present regime in a previous incarnation. two of them stand out because of the billions of dollars that were involved. One was the investment in Clico, for which, as you know by now, the coalition government had to rescue NIS to the tune of nearly $6 billion by way of 20 bonds, 20 yearly bonds that they could cash. Depending yours truly, in 2016, as I remember. And then, of course, you had a near $4 billion investment in the body because it hasn't really been contributing to NIS. So those two are more or less the reckless investments of NIS that are totally impaired. But they now are able to get part of it back in the sense of Clico. In fact, I read somewhere where the present government is accelerating the payments of the debentures. So instead of them cashing in one debenture per year, I believe last year they were able to cash in two of the debentures, I think, because of the financial position of NIS. I heard somebody telling me something to the effect that he said that contributing to the bankruptcy is the loss of the sugar workers contributions to NIS. Well, this particular statement would be laughable, or it not to be taken seriously, because for a long period of time, Daisuku had been taking out the NIS of its workers, but not remitting it to the NIS. The years that happened, and so at the time when we were retrenching those 5,000 plus workers, again as I said, not 5,000 plus workers. Very little contributions from NIS from the workers who were going to NIS. In fact, it was the government through the transfers and so on that were enabling payments of the accumulated NIS outstanding payments from Daisuku workers that were enabling the NIS to get some income from Daisuku. There are a number of other entities, private and maybe some public, who also owe NIS a lot of money, And finally, contributing to NIS's position is that I believe two consecutive actuarial reports have not been acted upon, and therefore the situation at NIS continues to deteriorate. Part of the recommendations in those actual reports were parts of it were one, extending the age, the age for you to the retirement age, extending the retirement age, and hence the age for which you will achieve begin to get NIS payments. And the second one, I believe, was increases in NIS contributions. Neither of these recommendations has been accepted by either governments, both the coalition governments and the current government, and the current government in its past reincarnation. And so NIS continues to suffer. NIS needs a complete overhaul. It's operating with laws that are basically 1970s. It doesn't have a proper investment profile and so forth. So, and it needs to come into the world of technology and so on. So a number of recommendations that can be implemented to improve the base and reporting of the NIS.
Yeah, Mr. Jordan, thanks for clarifying a lot of things here, but I want to ask you two questions. And the one is pretty obvious, that Jack Dale is blaming the retrenchment of, as you have put the numbers quite accurately, 5,000, not 7,000 sugar workers, and that because of that retrenchment, so to speak, that is the reason why NIS is bankrupt. Why do you suppose he's being so mischievous and misleading to the public?
Well, I don't know, but I think that is nothing new for the wider audience in Guyana. That is absolutely nothing new. There are many statements that are made not only by Jack Leo, but whoever else in the party that have no, that could not stand up by way of statistics and so forth. But they're allowed to do it because very often they're not questioned extensively and aggressively by any number of people, the reporters, the journalists, the opposition, spokesperson, civil society, So in many ways, these statements eventually become like gospel. Come out to rebut what he has said. But generally, this is not a particular stance that is now being taken. And so whatever he ends up saying ends up being like if it were gospel. And the thing is that people in Guyana seem to have very short memories. They don't do homework, they don't do research. So when you go back and you add today's statement with last year's statement or 10 years ago statement and so on, you will see definitely when they don't add up. But we don't do those kind of work. We don't have the kind of journalists who will go back into their morgue and find out all these different things that were said on behalf of NIS and so forth, and come up and say, well, no, this thing you say don't make no sense. We don't have that kind of, we can't depend on that kind of investigative journalism.
Let's head back to, and I know I said just a couple of minutes, but let's head back to NIS investment, billions of dollars, and that was actually taken away from NIS, given to CLECO under the PPP's regime, and Jack Day was responsible for that. How would you describe the billions of dollars taken out of NIS for private investors to invest in Borby's River Bridge? You are the finance minister. What were the books like, the auditing of the bridge and the revenues and so forth?
Well, we had our issues with the Borby's Bridge, and I don't think we need to rehash them. But I mean, in reality, as we found out, that the investment that was made by NIS in the bridge was totally reckless, and it put NIS at a severe disadvantage relative to the other investors, so to speak. And as you know, when New Building Society also that was being targeted to make investment, when they didn't make the investment, you saw what happened to the poor man, John. I think there was another guy there who also suffered the wrath of their actions of not investing. But look, NIS needs to obviously have a diverse investment portfolio that gives it high-ranking returns for the least risk. You're not going to find too many investments that have those two things that go together: high returns with minimum risk. Generally risk is associated with the level of return. That's why the bulk of NIS's money is in treasury bills. It's safe, but it earns nothing much really. In fact, the earnings are so low as not to be able to help it significantly to cover its current expenditure. So NIS needs a diverse portfolio. But having said all of that, diversifying the portfolio is no excuse for being reckless. In fact, you have to be even more prudent in the investment of those resources. And you are, without knowing it, you are touching on a wider problem that will involve probably more money than NIS, and that is the Natural Resource Fund. When it comes to the investment of the Natural Resource Fund also, that is where the level of prudency and so forth have to be even more. But like I said, I agree, diversification of the investment portfolio, but not in a reckless manner. When you look at Trinidad, for example, imagine all these people are behind Guyana when it comes to the establishment of a national insurance scheme. Trinidad, Barbados, all of them are behind Guyana. While yet still they have advanced in terms of their what they do with their income and their investments there. Trinidad, NIS, for example, own apartments, right, that they rent and so forth, and they get income that will be far more than the interest that they will get on their investment in a bank. And when I was minister, I had called for a complete overhaul and reform of NIS. I had got the IDB to give a technical assistance in that area. I don't know what has happened since, but NIS needs three types of reforms: legal, structural and institutional reforms to bring it, as I say, into the modern age. They are doing the best that they can with given what they have. But it's time for the substantive changes to be made to transform the institution, especially also bearing in mind the employment, the structure of the employment in Guyana, and the evolving oil sector, and the implications of the kinds of contracts and employment arrangements that they have in that sector.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate this breakdown, and the people know exactly what is happening. NIS is in the state that it is in currently. It's in ICU. We put that intensive care unit financially as a result of recklessness on the part of Jack Dio and the PPP. But before you go, Mr. Jordan, are you privy to talk about these frivolous allegations, these new ones leveled against you about some selling of lands out in Ogle?
Well, Mark, it's extremely hurtful. This what has happened. Sometimes one in one's quieter moments decide really what really happened. What did you do to deserve the kind of treatment that you are being taken? Because most people know I have given all my life to public service, and to be treated in this manner, to be continuously being brought up on trumped up political charges. Because that is what they are. They're political charges, stringing me out, and also bringing untold damage to my health, and also to the social well-being of my family, my immediate family. My poor wife, who is not Guyanese, is also feeling it, and it's and a lot of people don't know. But my mother, who died 2 months ago, part of the reason is because she took this on. She took this, even though I told her, everything's going to be all right and so on and so forth. Every time I go there, every time she calls, it's like she has tears in her eyes. Why are they doing this to you? And so on. And I said, well, I don't know. I didn't sign up for this. I did not sign up for this. But
you have a lot of people. You have a lot of people, Mr. Jordan, who are on your side. We know that you're being persecuted politically by these political demonic forces. And let me just say this to you, sir, because from lots of experiences on my part, is one of the remedy for this is to come out and speak out more. The more you speak out on these issues, the more you flush your system of it. And it's refreshing to hear you this morning, to hear you talk about your predicament, and to hear you talk about lots of developments and things that you guys did when y'all were in office under the coalition government. So let us hope that you will be out more speaking out and not allow these goons to have you be forced into a corner and not speak out. Because when you don't speak out, you deprive us of the truth as to what really transpired. We know that you're being persecuted, sir. All of the people know that you're being persecuted by these folks in the installed regime.
Mark, as I indicated in my opening, it is not a case of I being cowed or silenced or so on. As I refresh you again, because I keep hearing people saying, well, don't hear from Mr. Jordan. Mr. Jordan has been silenced and so on. Mm-hmm. Mr. Jordan has been silenced, but he hasn't been silenced by the administration and so on. He has been silenced from what took place medically, okay, and is adhering as much as possible to his doctor's advice. That is what I have been doing, and that has helped me over the last 3-4 months to progress where I am. But it's not that I have been silenced by any political active or so on. But I have to be careful. As I said, I have pre-existing conditions. Okay? And those are not going to go away. Those are life conditions. And as I said, those were aggravated. As you know what happened on December the 2nd, when I ended up in hospital. Okay? I had a heart issue. Okay? That is the stress. Okay? I don't know.
Well,
not that I am not making these. I can't make these appearances because I get very tired and my BP goes up, and and then my heart started palpitating.
I got you. We got you, sir, and we're
So
praying. Yeah.
But from time to time, I will make interventions in writing, or I will may send something on WhatsApp or so on.
Absolutely.
I cannot be in that kind of mood that you are suggesting.
I hear you, sir. Yeah.
So
And I did not mean to come over a bit. I did not mean to come over insensitive on the matter, but we understand your health situation. We want to wish you all the best health-wise and otherwise as well, too. And condolences on the passing of your mother.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. You have lots of people who are rooting for you. Closing remarks before you go, sir, for now?
Not really. Well, it is good to be on your life. As I said, I appreciate all the wishes and the people who have been calling and WhatsApping and so on, especially when they don't hear from you, but what happened yesterday and so forth. It tells you that it tells you that people are engaged, and this too, as they say in the parlance, will pass. It's just that hopefully it will pass while I'm still alive.
Yep, and we want that to pass when you're still alive, sir. But thank you so much. Appreciate it, and God bless. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. The Honorable former Finance Minister Winston Jordan there giving us a quick rundown as to what happened with the NIS money, the NIS money. We all know what happened to it, right? Yeah, take a look. Take a look at what happened to it. We all know what happened to it. And this guy is lying through his teeth, right? In suggesting that the state of NIS is as a result of what the coalition did to the sugar workers, right? We all know that's a lie. You heard from Mr. Jordan, who was the finance minister, got far more brain than this guy, gave us a breakdown, the bad investment, the billions of dollars that Jack Deere took and gave his friends and cronies for the Berbice River Bridge, that it is much longer. It's 2 times the size of what the bridge would have been if it was closer to Stanley Town area. But people are saying because of racism, they didn't want it to go into Stanley Town area because it would have been booming for businesses, for people in that area, leading into New Amsterdam and so forth. So in order to stifle that town, stifle New Amsterdam economically, they built a bridge leading over to Palmyra. And now we're hearing that they have a big business plan for Palmyra. But they didn't have that same big business plan for the area next to Stanley Town and so forth. Again, y'all know why, right? But suddenly we're hearing big business plan for Palmyra area. And if you check on the land ownership of that area, Palmyra, you'll get to understand exactly what is happening. And these are the same goons who went after Winston Jordan and others to talk about selling lands and raw deals and all these manner of things. These guys have no shame. But let us talk about Soku, right? Soku did nothing when it came to the allegations of Sue and Jack Dale. Sue and Jack Dale. Read between the lines, Sue and Jack Dale, it's right there. To investigate allegations of corruption and all these manner of things, but nothing at all, absolutely nothing. Please get this guy off the screen. Get him off the screen. NIS is broke because Jack Dale and the PPP stole billions of dollars. That is why NIS is broke. But we are one Guyana, right? One people, one nation, one destiny, not one Guyana, sorry, what they're trying to make it out to be. It is not. We are one people, one nation. We'll take a quick break because I just have a few minutes more with you guys.
Let's get
get together. Stop all this fussing and fighting. Let's love one another. You gotta help your mother, help your father, help your brothers, help your sisters, help your neighbors and your friends. We are one people, one nation, one destiny. Everybody, y'all. One people, one nation, one destiny. Yeah, yeah.
All right. We're just looking at a few minutes remaining for me here on the mid-morning show with Gabby and Selector Andre and Josh and Earl. But I decided to get a little political, right? Maybe management is going to send me a letter about this here. But let's get to the phone line. I have Dr. David Hines with us. Dr. Hines, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning to you, Mark. I'm fine, thanks. How about yourself?
I am great, even under the circumstances. And let me apologize for just grabbing you so quickly without any forewarning you. But as always, you're willing to come on the show, whether it's last minute or not. But what is your take, Dr. Hines, quickly on the lies Jack Davis peddling about the state of affairs at NIS?
Well, you know, it's part of a political strategy. They are taking advantage of two things. One, the loyalty of their own supporters who are prepared to pretend that they don't know certain things. That's one. Secondly, they're taking advantage of the fact that, Guyanese in the circumstances have short political memories. They're inundated with political things on a daily basis. And so therefore, the things go in and come out. So the memory span is not long. And thirdly, there is the political objective. And the political objective is to paint the coalition leaders as people who squandered money, who stole money. Now, that is deliberate because everyone who wants to remember will remember that when one of the factors that contributed heavily to the PPP losing office in 2015 was corruption. A lot of them, they sold land and properties over the value to themselves. Some of them were before Saran that begun to make reparations, repayments, and so forth. They went out under a cloud of corruption, and the coalition did a number, as you remember, Mark, the coalition did a number of investigations and audits, and they came up with credible evidence. They just didn't go to court for a number of reasons. So the PPP has this thing hanging over the heads, and the way they're dealing with it is trying to pretend that they're honest, and it's the coalition members who are the real corruptors and the agents of corruption. So this is a direct political strategy coming out of people who understand propaganda and who understand the society and the fact that the society is tired of this politics day in, day out. And finally, what they're doing is trying to break the spirit of the coalition leaders. If you harass people every day, you call them in, you question them, you put them before the courts, you charge them. Notice they're charging these people, but they're not bringing the cases to trial. I am sure they know that a lot of those cases, if not all of them, cannot stand up in court. But it's a way of beating down people's spirit. It is the PPP authoritarian regime at its worst.
Just attach it.
Indeed, Dr. Hines, in terms of beating down those in the opposition, I hope those in the opposition would understand that this is what it's about. Quickly before we go, I thought it was comical though that Jack Davis trying to blame the state of NIS there as a result of 5,000 sugar workers being terminated under the coalition. Well, they have said 7,000, but there's no evidence that it is 7,000. And they haven't said the reason why the 5,000 had to go as a result of bad management under the PPP regime of Guy Succo. They're not saying that at all. But we just heard from Mr. Winston Jordan, former finance minister, who said, hey, Guy Succo, the sugar workers, Guy Succo were not paying their fair share at NIS at all. Your take?
Yes, when one looks at the evidence before us, it is very clear that the PPP is responsible for the plight of the sugar workers. In the first place, they had the Skeldon debacle. We had them running down the sugar industry, continuing to put money into this industry that was not yielding returns. And so they put the sugar workers in a very bad position. The coalition attempted to deal with the issue. They dealt with it. The propaganda may not have been the sharpest, but they took the correct economic decision. The PPP comes in. They are endorsing the coalition position that you cannot reopen these estates. So now what they have to do is end up lying to their own supporters, lying to the sugar workers. And today you're hearing that it's NIS that caused the sugar workers to be fired. Tomorrow you're going to hear that something else is responsible. Everything except the PPP and the PPP's policy. The Berbice Bridge is there to show that's where the bankruptcy of NIS begun. This chap Jack Dio, who runs around the place as a skilled economic technician. He's not. I mean, Jack Dio, I think, understands numbers very well. He's been doing this for a long time. What Jack Dio doesn't understand is policy. He understands numbers, but he does not understand economic policy. And the reason for that is that he's not grounded in economic thought. To really be an expert when it comes to policy, you have to understand thought. And Jacquio is not. He's not an economic guru as he's made out to be. And so he continues to make these mistakes. And when he's cornered, he comes up with all these excuses. Look, one of the reasons that they fear Winston Jordan is that one, he was there. Secondly, he understands the system. He understands the economic. He knows where the buttons are. And I'm amazed at his capacity to pull the various buttons together when he gives an analysis. And so therefore, he is perhaps one of the few persons that we have in Guyana who are able to nail a PPP like within seconds because he has everything in his head. There are people who know that, if you take one thing there, another thing there, another thing there, they know where they are. Jack Dio knows where things are. To connect them, that is where Jordan is head and shoulders above him. Jordan is able to connect the moving parts. And so he's able to answer questions about the macroeconomy and also the micro sections of the economy. And so every time the people opens their mouth to lie, is in their faces with the facts, with the numbers, with the analysis. And so they're trying to criminalize him so that he's no longer a credible voice. That's the tactic they are using in going after Mr. Jordan.
And others indeed. And we already got Jack there in his tricks. He might be good with numbers, not good at policy at all, but the numbers that he's good with is always fixing the numbers, fixing the books, and maybe bingo and all these.
That's right,
What he
because it doesn't
It's,
have the wherewithal to connect numbers. It's one thing to know numbers, it's another thing to connect the numbers and then to situate the numbers in a larger framework.
well,
That's a real economist.
well,
He's not a real economist.
absolutely not. But let us say that we are waiting. We are waiting for the Vice News report to come out so we could hear the real numbers coming from Sue and the
There you
allegations and
go.
so forth. But Dr. Hines, thank you so much for your time. Do you have a show this afternoon?
No,
Oh, you
it's
do
my
not.
rest day.
All right. All right.
I'm getting up there in age, I need rest days.
Well, I don't see that. We don't see that at all. Bostonians don't get up in age at all. At all. Thank you. Sorry.
That used to be in the old days when we used to drink company water, but we can't drink that water now.
You cannot at
We're
all.
getting older, thicker.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Hines, for your time.
All
Thank
right,
you.
my brother.
Thank you for all that you do on your shows as well, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, Dr. David Hines there for you guys. A quick couple minutes with Dr. Hines. We'll take a quick break because we have to make way. Former President David Granger will be up at 11 o'clock. So we'll take a quick break and we will be back with more of the mid-morning show. I'm sorry, the mid-morning show. This is people have asked, where is Gabby? Gabby's a little unwell, so they're off today and they asked me to sit in. So thank you so much, guys. We'll be right back.
Hey, Guyanese, hey, what make we so stupid? I wonder. Guyanese like myself, yes. Why we so foolish? And I want to tell you. Imagine we put the leaders there in the government and run we back from them like we don't care how taxpayers' money spent. With all the corruption that taking place, we is the ones to be blamed. While them are thief. We just sit down like if we lame. But this God don't sleep. No, he don't sleep. By the time I done sing make I so, I know you're gonna agree with me that he don't sleep. Jehovah not sleep. One day the same bad seed that them sow, it's that they gonna reap. Under this party, politicians thieving at will.
Under this party, right? Politicians thieving at will. All right, so I'll be back this evening with Thomas Anderson. We'll get more political there, right? But by then you'll get the whole story about the NIS and that it is not the coalition that caused NIS to be where it is. Coalition actually saved NIS. Coalition saved a lot of agencies that were bankrupt under the PPP, that they took monies out and give it to friends and cronies. Remember, Jagdeer took almost $200 or $300 million, give it to his friend, Buddy Shivraj, to build, it was then Buddy's International Hotel, now Princess Hotel, right? So that is what Jagdeer did. Take taxpayers' money, billions of dollars, give it to friends and cronies to invest. And I don't know. And then they're going around charging coalition folks. Winston Jordan is before the court because he gave out legally, right? Guyanese are entitled to land. People applied for land at Ogle. People were granted, and now they're charging the man for that. And Jagdeer, they give out thousands upon thousands of acres of land. Thousands of acres of land, right? But this is the mid-morning show. Mid-morning show indeed. Thank you, management, for having the confidence in me. Thank you guys so much. Thanks, some folks from Andrew's Supermarket there listening. Good morning to you guys there. I should drop by there when I'm in Guyana and ask for a discount at Andrew's Supermarket. Support that supermarket and support other businesses that support you and your community, right? So we'll be back. Coming up at 11 o'clock, President David Arthur Granger, he will be doing his thing. But for now, have a great day until later this evening on Straight Up, where my guest will be Tom Anderson. God bless you all. Have a great day.
Under this party, them not care, they're doing it still under this party. All the big contracts are go to them friend under this party. Them forgetting the longest rope of an end. But if we the people can come together and stand up for what is right, put aside we indifference and start unite. Politicians would know them damn place and work with honesty. Then boom, Guyana would rise and have a vibrant economy. Ding dang, diddy do dang dunga day. Whoa, ding ding, diddy do dang dunga day. Whoa, da da da, oh yeah. Guyanese, open your eyes. Yes. Guyanese like myself. Hey, it's time we get wise. Imagine we finance minister, auditor is the wife. It's like putting cat to watch milk. How could that be right then? Clem take $38 million and buy a old water cannon truck. And on the first two out in the go fund instead it work. The job just dropped. But this God don't sleep. No, he don't sleep. In any developed countries, Clem balls would have feel the heat, but he don't sleep. Jehovah not sleep. One day, the same bad seed that them sow, yes, that's the gun reap. Under this party, corruption rising high. Under this party, man get killed execution style. Under this party, the trustworthiness starting to decline. Under this party, that's why Ralph Ramkaran had to resign. Them man see and talk about corruption going on inside the own camp. He said from the top to the bottom, it's a set of scam. Big mansion them a build in Diamond and Pradoville with taxpayers' money, and I make sure that them pockets fill.